You'd think that if you studied something for long enough that you would have a complete and thorough understanding as to how that thing works. However, Mr. Thrive and Survive still cannot understand how eclipses work, and he still can't pronounce Marmite correctly. Hello all, and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, SciManDan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, I'm delighted to announce that today's video is brought to you by Amino Stories, a wonderful new app that provides interest-driven topics in a short, bite-sized video format. And get this, you can even get paid for making them as well. I've already uploaded my first story, you should check it out, and I even go outside. Here's a quick clip. Hey, my name's Dan, and this is a globe, very much like the thing we live on. To find me, simply type in SciManDan on the search bar like so. There we go. And then you click on my profile like that, and then you press the follow button like that, and there is my first story. That's how you find me. Once you've clicked follow, you can then watch all of my stories, and I'm planning on uploading a few more. In fact, my next one should be a very good globe proof, so make sure you check that out. Just remember to turn on the notifications. Searching for stories couldn't be easier either. Just chuck a keyword into the topic search bar, pick a topic you want, and then there's plenty of stories. Like this one I found on the multiverse theory. It was quite good. Right, I can tell you one person who won't be posting any science on there, Mr. Thrive and Survive. Unfortunately, he is showing once again how utterly inept he is at understanding something as simple as an eclipse. He's now doubling down in an attempt to save face. Surely it can't get any worse, can it? Let's find out.
Hey everyone, Mr. Thrive and Survive. This is going to be a way you can actually prove if this model, actually prove it yourself if this model is true. You have a huge sun which creates an umbra, and I got all kind of people in this video here, Earth way too big and NASA model, NASA fail.
Hang on. Has he actually liked his own video? Tragic.
Who just tell me that the angles of the sun are this and that, and the Earth is actually, if you reverse it, the moon is actually up here, so it's 4 times larger shadow, blah, 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 blah. It's all based on bullcrap. All of it.
Well, sorry about that, Rich, but it appears you don't even seem to be listening to what these people are saying. You do the equivalent of sticking your fingers in the ears and going, la 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 la.
And you can prove this yourself. Now, why do we have this umbra? Because the sun is so much larger. We have this crisscrossing of light rays, which have to be parallel otherwise. They just have to be. And I've explained that before. If you go for the seasons, look up seasons. How are seasons explained on the Earth? You'll see parallel rays have to be used every time. What is your latitude? Using the sun, you can tell your latitude. Everybody uses that as an Earth proof. Your latitude compared to the North Pole or the equator. You can tell where the sun is, right? Well, that you can only do that if it's parallel rays. If rays are coming in all kind of different angles, you'd never know. Anyway, back to this. How can you prove yourself if the umbra penumbra exists?
As I stated in the last video, the light from the sun does reach us in an almost parallel nature. I think, though, I've finally cracked why you don't understand this, Rich. You look at a picture that is not to scale, and then you say, well, I can't see any eclipses happening here. And then you look at another picture not to scale and you pat yourself on the back for getting it so right. Check this video out from a channel called Delboy1967. It's quite long, but I'll put the link in the description so you can all check it out later. But it is an excellent example of a scale model showing a solar eclipse.
And another 15 degrees. Sorry, another 5 degrees for the moon. Puts it right on there. Now you can already see already that in that same rotation period, the shadow has actually moved from west to east faster. rotate till midday. It's right at 90 degrees there.
Not only does it clearly show an umbra and penumbra, but it also smashes that complete rubbish that flat earthers spout, that eclipses should travel east to west rather than west to east. I hope it goes some way to help you understand Rich. No doubt he'll take it and talk gibberish over it to try and discredit the guy.
And there's a lot of people I'd said I was going to embarrass with this, but I won't, just a couple, okay? Look at this idiot here. You go to his channel, he says he can prove that the earth is curved using a level.
Roohif is actually a fantastic YouTuber. You should all go and check him out.
Rather than consistently embarrass yourself on the subject, please sit down with someone who can do the geometry correctly. Well, you can do this yourself. Even you freaking moron. You can even do this, see? Keep believing a level proves a curve. These people are nuts.
More personal incredulity from Thrive here.
Here we go. Luke Boudouin, I hope I pronounced that right. The extent of the umbra is determined by a region of space that doesn't receive sun's light. It's a cone, and the shape of the cone is more or less the same for the moon and for the earth. Based on freaking what?
Simple geometry, Rich. I don't think he understands here that he is literally trying to debunk geometry, something which is factual, precise and undeniable.
Based on what you've been told? Because the Earth is bigger than the Moon, the cone extends 4 times further, and the Earth's moon distance, its section is large enough to engulf the entire Moon. Really? Based on a cone, right? Because the Sun is so much bigger than the Earth and the Moon, it creates this cone. Once again, the globe model easily explains observations. Does it really?
Yes, it does.
On the other hand, flat Earth are unable to say where there are moon eclipses. No, we're not. In fact, flat Earth people called the Mayans were able to predict not only when and exactly where the eclipses would occur, but how dark the color red would be, and they believed in a flat Earth model. How's that? Stupidities. People are so freaking ignorant, it just boggles my mind.
Rich, the commenter said that flat earthers can't explain why eclipses happen. Predicting them is something entirely different. Yes, the Mayans could predict a lot of stuff, but could they tell us why these things happen in the first place? So if you are watching, Rich, please do tell us exactly how a lunar eclipse occurs on a flat Earth model. Anything less than that will be a total failure of a response.
And yet they call you ignorant. Okay, let's go back up to one more time. We have a huge sun, much larger than the Earth, so it creates this umbra penumbra much larger than the Moon. Right? We have crisscrossing. Do the math. 89.9896, something like that, degrees is the virtually parallel rays you'd have to have from 93 million miles. And there's no way light coming off at this angle up here would ever come down and strike the Earth. I'm sorry.
And no one is saying that it would, Rich.
But I say give it to them. So how do you create the umbra penumbra? Oh, well, the Moon and the Earth aren't as big as the Sun, Rich. Well, what if I had a little ball? Would that be as big as the Sun? Absolutely not. So let's take a look at a couple examples where you can go out and prove this for yourself if you're not too effing lazy. And I'm sorry to be so pissed at this, but you people are stupid. And you would think after all this time you'd wake up. But no, you got to sit there and Google and come up with all these stupid angles that don't exist. And you can prove they don't exist. Let's take a look.
Before he shows this, I just want us to remember that little rant there, telling us all how stupid we are. Let's keep that in the forefront of our minds.
Now here's a little video I took with my phone of a street lamp. Is the street lamp smaller than the Sun, do you think? Do you think you can think that through? Is the street lamp smaller than the Sun? And remember, according to the planetary astronomer at Arizona State University, the Sun is even bigger in our sky than it is in space because the atmosphere diffuses it. So it's even larger than what the Sun and Moon have to work with. So I'm asking you the logical question. Can you freaking answer it? Is the Sun larger than this light?
Ignore his flippancy. He's about to get wrecked.
Well, let me go ahead and play this and show you exactly what happens when this light is casting a shadow on the bottom. There should be an umbra penumbra, and it should be smaller. Correct? Well, what do we have here? Uh-oh, the shadow is larger. And what do we have for an umbra penumbra? And this is what you're going to notice with everything. Let me freeze it there. you've got a little bit of a blur on the outside, no more than 1% ever of the blocking object, and it just doesn't keep getting bigger and bigger. And I've tried this from all different distances, all different objects. I've tried it with trees that are casting 200 feet shadows when the sun is low, and this umbra penumbra BS doesn't get any more than a little bit of the edge gets blurry. That's it.
Quite amusingly, Rich, who is standing close to the ground, has a much sharper shadow with no blurring. Has he debunked himself there?
And I think I'm being generous with 1%. So this is what you have right there. And the shadow is actually larger than the light post. You can't make it smaller. It should be smaller because the sun is much bigger than the light, isn't it? Well, let's actually go outside with a ball, shall we? Can you do this, guys? Can you go outside with a ball and try this yourself? Let's try it.
This is too good. You can't miss this.
And again, I get so upset because these things are so easy to think through and approve yourself if it's true. And morons keep making videos and everything and making comments that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. They know exactly what the angles of the sun are when nobody else does, and that is a cone. But you can't create this with the exact same sun that the sun and moon use. Here's a ball sitting on there on the surface. So let me go ahead and play this. So I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to pick it up. And let's see if the shadow gets smaller. All right, there's the sun. Quite a bit larger than the ball. Same sun the sun and earth move, the earth and moon use during an eclipse. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. So let's see what happens when I pick up this ball and see if the shadow gets smaller. If I get this cone effect that is created by the sun, that is so much more huge in this ball. Just imagine the earth and the moon are much larger than this, so I should get all kind of small shadow with this one, right? So here we go. Look at that. The shadow doesn't get smaller than the ball. How is that possible? The sun is so much larger than the ball. And it doesn't matter, guys. I don't care. Do it on an angle when you can go hundreds of feet with this and cast a shadow. The shadow never gets smaller, and you never get more than the very outside edge get a little bit blurry.
Let's just hear that statement again.
The shadow never gets smaller. The shadow never gets smaller. The shadow never gets smaller.
Cue Robert LaFleur, who is about to rip Thrive's world apart. Away you go, Robert.
That's it. You get no cone effect. And you should. It's the exact same sun. It's even bigger because of our atmosphere. So we should get even much smaller shadow. And take two balls. Cast one shadow on the other. See if you can get the shadow to get smaller on the other one. You can't do it. So you can prove this yourself. That this whole cone, umbra penumbra, the sun is larger so it makes a smaller shadow. It's total freaking bullcrap. And you can do the proof yourself. So go out and make a video and show me how you get this cone and how you get a much smaller shadow.
Oh, Thrive. So embarrassing. Oh dear. Well, that couldn't have gone any better, could it? Huge thanks to Robert LaFleur, who, funny enough, has been trying to get Thrive and Survive to watch his video for a while. Right, that brings this episode of Flat Earth Friday to an absolutely cracking close. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, then please do like and subscribe. Have yourselves a great weekend. I have been SciManDan, and fingers crossed I'll see you all Sunday for the next live debate. Till then.